welcome. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Beefy Boys Breakdown. It's episode 158. We're going over UFC Mexico City, Moreno, Royval 2. Man, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm good, man. Just helped some boys at the men's church league basketball game up in the city. Haven't ran or played ball in a long time. First game not great, kind of got blown out. Second game we lost by 6, very competitive. Your boy was turning up.
Bro, you were always better at basketball than people would assume. You were never trash at basketball. For those watching the show, new to the show, whatever. Me and Harrison grew up on the same street in Norman, Oklahoma. So we're from 6th grade on or some shit. So it's we'd be at the park, whatever. But yeah, Harrison, I'm not gonna say you out here, hooping for real, but you were never trash at basketball.
I'm just smart with it. I'm not gonna give away the shitty turnovers. I'll play a real sound white style of ball,
Shout out Will Compton.
Shout out Will Compton. Speaking of white, we can go to Brandon Royval. Oh, that's not fair, I guess. But Mexico treated him like he was white, which I thought was fucked up. He was super happy to be there. But yeah, the headline fight, Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno. Let's go, Brandon, in the main event here.
Yeah, no, so yeah, we got Moreno, Royval 2. First fight ended in an injury to Royval. However, Moreno was winning that. That was another one of those where, to say it was a fluke is kind of questionable. I guess it was the first round didn't even complete. Needless to say, I'm glad they ran it back. Both guys have kind of maintained their high level in the division. This is a fight that needed to happen for clarity in the division. Also, I thought it was kind of cool marketing or whatever you want to call it from the Dana White and the promotion to because the Yair and Ortega, the co-main event, was the same thing. It got stopped short due to an injury. So it was resolution night. It was UFC Mexico, but it was really UFC resolution.
UFC resolution night. Now that being said, might be the most split decisions I've ever seen on a card. I think there are 4 or 5.
At least 5.
And honestly, to the judges' credit, all those fights that are splits, hard to score. I think there's one where they completely rob someone, but all the rest, I in my notes, I'm oh, this is going to be a split. I can see a split here.
No, for sure, man. So money line wise, we have Brandon Moreno minus 300, ranked 1 in the flyweight division, taking on the 5'9", which is pretty tall for the flyweight division. Plus 240, third ranked Brandon Royval. Also, yeah, I've been listening to Anik and Florian. Apparently, it's not Royval, not Royval, Royval. Which sounds like how an Oklahoma football coach would say it, but apparently that's how it's supposed to be pronounced, Royval.
But I heard Chiesa saying that in the post fight, and I was going to clown him. I was literally going to talk some shit on Michael Chiesa about it, but if it's Royval, all right.
Yeah, and shout out to Kenny Florian tweeted at us and liked some of our tweets last night. So shout out to the Anik and Florian pod. That was pretty cool. But yeah, check us out on Twitter at Beefy Breakdown. But yeah, man. Your boy personally bet Brandon Moreno by decision. I got plus 145 value on that, which I thought for a minus 300 flyweight that goes to a lot of decisions. I thought that was great value, and I still feel that way. The fight ends up going to a split decision, like we mentioned. So that means at least one judge gave this fight to Moreno by decision. And as a guy who bet Moreno by decision, you can't lose too much sleep over that.
100%. And when you also take into account the 2 judges that do score the fight, or I guess lean in Royval's way, don't agree on their cards. So
yeah, so there's a clear path to giving Moreno this fight.
Yeah, I mean,
I actually did. If you want to get to how we scored it, I edged it to Moreno, but I fully admit that was it 1, 3, and 4 were basically coin flip toss up rounds that I really
see. I felt like 4 was pretty clear. I thought that was the only clear round in my book, honestly.
See, I thought 5 was the easiest to score personally. But,
I'll give you 5. I think 4 and 5 I found easy to score.
Had clear winners.
But yeah, but 1, 2, and 3, man. I mean, I literally could flip a coin every time, I think.
1 especially, because 1 is hard to score for all the wrong reasons. Very Rosa Esparza I guess that was Rosa Esparza too, I think. But like, whatever. We all know what I'm talking about. The worst fight of all time.
It was pretty much a ring generalship round, which sucks when you're going to tertiary measures to because like the damage is negligible for both guys. Both guys are moving around and throwing a bunch of feints or just really out of range and whiffing shots. Royval's the more active guy, but he's not necessarily landing more, and neither guy's landing anything that's meaningful. Minus maybe a couple kicks here or there, but I mean, I thought damage overall was pretty negligible.
So I gave it to Moreno. Landed 13 significant strikes in that round. So to your point, Moreno. Like now, some of those shots that Moreno landed were some decent counter lefts. Like they're coming from a flyweight. I'm not saying they landed as clean as possible, but they were some pretty decent counter lefts compared to the pitter pat bullshit Royval was throwing out there.
That's exactly where I leaned. Was like, I mean, if both guys are landing the same amount of strikes and it's like 12 strikes each or 13 and 11, whatever it was, I did think Moreno was throwing the bigger strikes. So, yeah, I mean, that was pretty much exactly why I leaned to him. Now, I did write could go either way depending on if you liked Royval's volume and the pressure, which one judge did. Two judges go Moreno here. One judge goes Royval.
Okay, that's interesting. Tell us how the judges scored each round as we go.
Also,
round two.
I just want to point out, it's Junichiro Kamijo, Mike Bell, and Chris Lee. You couldn't be in a worse position as a fighter to have those three judges.
Now, don't forget old Adelaide, but yeah, round two, I thought they both really stepped up the action, and I was like, okay, cool. As a fan, I know I'm not going to be like, we don't have to watch 5 rounds of this bullshit like round one. So like round two is basically when the fight actually started, if you want to be honest.
Once again, still a close round, I thought, though. Even though they both started engaging and going for it, they both were having success.
Yeah, so Moreno was landing more punches to the head, and he did get a takedown. But Royval was landing some pretty legit body kicks and then had a super active guard from bottom and was kind of throwing some shit up. So I lean Moreno because none of the shit Royval was throwing up was really landing or threatening. And also, like, there was no catches, as they would say in jiu-jitsu. And then also, like, I mean, if you want to do caveman math, I'd rather be kicked in the body than punched in the face. So I lean Moreno. Competitive round, though.
Yeah, super, super tight round. I once again have in my notes I could see it either way. I lean to Royval in this round. I thought that the takedown, like, Moreno did dick with it. And in fact, I thought he was defending more after getting the takedown than he was offensive with the takedown. So
Royval had a very active guard.
No doubt. And I did think the takedown was impactful, but then it's like, what do you do with it? And it actually, I felt like didn't help Moreno in the moment. So it kind of like 50-50 that for me. And then, yeah, I actually liked the body kicks a lot. There were two that landed pretty flush, that like good, nice noise to him. I was like, that might be the best strike he's landed in the whole fight.
Fair. They were good body kicks, and he did have an active guard. Like, shows you how subjective these rounds were, because basically we had the exact same words in our notes with different scores.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We saw it the same way. Because, it was subjective. So
very interesting here. So one judge has scored 1 for Moreno, scores 2 for Royval, same as me. So he has it 19-19. One judge has the first 2 rounds to Moreno, so he has it 2018 Moreno. The third judge has the first 2 rounds to Royval and has it 2018 Royval. So all 3 cards are different.
The 2018 Royval's tough, man.
That one's tough. Now,
tough.
Here's what I will say, overarching point. First 2 rounds, like, it's tougher to give Royval both than it is Moreno both. I will say that.
Obviously, I agree with that statement as a guy who gave Moreno both. But, yeah, we can keep it pushing. See, I thought round 3 might have been the actual closest, hardest to score round.
I agree with you. It felt like round 2, but almost more ratcheted up with, like, pace and damage. But, like, both guys were losing a little bit of speed, so it made more openings. Round 3 was where the fight kind of opened up more.
Round 3, Royval actually started to make the read on some of those counter lefts that Moreno was throwing. So Moreno was starting to whiff a little bit. And then Royval, had the volume, had the significant strike numbers on his side. Moreno was winning all the scrambles, but, like, not really doing anything with them.
Right.
So I lean Royval in 3.
I did as well.
The first round I gave to Royval.
I thought Royval was doing a fantastic job of getting outside of or getting the better position in the scrambles. I was actually amazed by it because usually Moreno's a dog at that. And also,
well, see, I actually, yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say.
I have in my notes like Moreno might be the GOAT scrambler. Like all of his fights are just basically one big scramble. Like seriously,
that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, is that like Moreno is like scramble king. So for Royval to keep Royval for Royval to keep that pace though, and like continually be able to scramble and get back up and reset those positions, I was like, it's kind of a win in that sense because that's something that Moreno I think relies on, that he is going to win those positions out.
Yeah. And I got to say, to Royval's credit, I'm not like the biggest Royval fan or anything, but he talked all week long about how he wasn't active enough against Pantoja, and he vowed to be more active, and he delivered on that promise. I mean, I think he ended this fight with like 400-something strikes attempted or something. So his whole game plan, his whole game plan was more outplay. He delivered that. So, I mean, he did what he said he was going to do. Got to respect that. But so we both gave 3 to Royval. How did the judges see it?
So one judge has my same scorecard here, has 2019 Royval. Mike Bell, he has rounds 2 and 3 to Royval and 1 to Moreno. Junichiro Kamijo has 1, 2, and 3 to Moreno. So she has it 30-27 at this point.
So no judge agrees with me at all then, right? If I had 1 and 2 to Moreno and 3 to Royval?
Right, no one has your card.
Oh, wow.
This fight's crazy. Fuck? Because Chris Lee then has the first 2 rounds to Royval and scores 3 to Moreno.
That's kind of wild.
See, that's hard. That's hard for me because I scored 3 to Royval just because it was so much like 2, where I'd already leaned.
So did I. Yeah. I mean, I scored it. I scored because Royval's defense was much better in 3. He was avoiding those counter lefts.
He was getting outside the counter left, exactly.
Yeah. And then so round 4, another razor close round, man. Another basically coin flip, man. Moreno was getting the leg and body, the leg kicks and the body punches off, but Royval just keeping that pace, the volume. He actually got his own takedown, and he was really extending those combinations with the hands. And yeah, bingo. I really liked Royval's work. Yep.
That exactly is what I have. God, our notes are like the same. This fight's so hard to score. So like, yeah, I thought Royval throwing the 4 to 6 punch combinations and actually standing there and getting some of those hooks and uppercuts, they were landing. Moreno's just a dog. Like, don't get it twisted. Now, in the same effect, Royval was also missing a lot of those punches too, but that overall volume, like I said, he was still outstriking Moreno. So it's kind of like a, yeah, if you are, I guess, 30 for 120 in a game shooting, but like it's all threes, and you still made 30 threes, like it's going to be effective somehow. Like if your opponent can only shoot 60 shots and they can only make 27, it's like they might have shot a better clip, but they still didn't get as many off.
Yeah. No, fair point with the analogy. Now, round 5, most entertaining round of the fight. We had, like if you would have, how the fight started with how boring round 1 was, if you would have told me that round 5 was going to look like this, I wouldn't have believed you. It was all out war.
So you had it tied up going into 5.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which made it super entertaining as a fan to watch.
Impressively, no judge had it tied going into 5. Which I didn't either.
How did the judges see 4? I don't think we got
all 3 judges gave 4 to Royval.
Yeah, might have been Royval's best round of the fight, honestly.
That's what I thought. I thought 4 and 5 were now different but clear as far as that was the best round for each guy. Which, yeah, I mean,
I probably got to agree with that. I probably got to agree with that.
Which, I mean, you know, that we can keep it pushing to the point of Junichiro Kamijo has 39-37 Moreno. Chris Lee and Mike Bell have at 39-37 Royval. So really both guys need well, I guess technically only Moreno needs the finish here. But like if I'm Moreno, I'm not thinking that in this fight. I'm not thinking I need a finish.
I'm almost certain, I could be wrong here, but I'm almost certain that each coach told their guy that it was tied.
Yes, yeah, both because Moreno comes back to his corner after 4. And Saif Sood looks at me and goes, not going to lie to you, you lost that one. It's 2-2. Like, we got to have this one. And then they're telling Royval, like, you won that round. Good job. Like, probably 2-2. It's probably tied up. Like, we got to have this 5th. So it's like the coaches.
I saw the fight how the coaches saw it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm damn close to it with the exception of probably 2 or 3 being flipped, probably 2. So it's like, how do you see 2 and 5? Not even. It's really how do you see 1 and 2? Because I think 3
really is how you see 1 and 2.
Kind of see the edge for Royval. 4 you definitely can see it more for Royval, and then 5 definitely Moreno's best round. He definitely fought like he knew he needed it.
Yeah, I agree with all those statements, man. Round 5, absolute heater. And it really was kind of the tale of quality versus quantity for Moreno, because Royval kept that pace up. To each man's credit, Royval did what he's been doing all night and what he promised to do. And Moreno really just dug down. He's known for being a dog. I mean, that was a heart and balls more than it was like technical. That was heart and balls. Like it sounds cliche, but like every fighter tells their coach to go for it in the final round, and he did, which is all you can ask from a guy. 5th round, 8,000 feet or whatever it is. Like all you can ask is for him to let his fucking dick hang out. You know what I mean?
100%. I mean, he cracked Royval a couple times in the 5th too, 2 or 3 times where he hit him pretty hard, and I was like, oh, those are good shots for the 5th round. I mean, now I will say to both these guys' credit, cardio not a problem, and they're at almost 7,000 feet, which is crazy. Now, Royval trains at 8,000 something, and I think Moreno trains between Mexico City and Houston, so he gets the 7,000 feet elevation plenty. So for both of them, like, it shouldn't have been a factor, but I was very happy that it was not.
For sure, yeah, especially Royval. Like, pace was absolutely bonkers. So, yeah, I gave Moreno 1, 2, and 5. No judge had my scorecard, even though we get one judge has the same number. It was different rounds. Also, real quick before we get to the final judge's scorecard, am I tripping? And was my Moreno ticket? Was my Moreno colored glasses? Herb Dean was separating that clinch hella quick, right or wrong. Was that not like wild? Like I was tripping. Like, I was like, you don't think that was crazy quick? Like, I don't even think it was a little bit quick. I thought it was like uber quick. I was also Moreno better. So
I thought it was really quick until the I guess he separated him twice, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Maybe even 3 times. Maybe even 3.
Right. The first one I thought, like, oh, that's really quick. But then I realized what he was seeing, which was Moreno was literally just holding onto his back, locking his hands, and not, like, sweeping legs, not trying to drag him backwards. He wasn't working to take him down. Yeah, I mean, you just can't just hold someone.
I mean, it was like less than 30 seconds? Like, I don't know. If minutes are rolling off the clock, yeah. But, I mean, we're talking
I think it was
couple seconds.
I think it was just that he was not trying to advance the position, and Royval was continuously trying to peel the hands off. So it was on Moreno to do something offensive.
Yeah, man. I said I bet Moreno, so I'll take your word for it. I was definitely not unbiased. I in real time, I was like, this is wild.
I thought it was really quick. I'm not going to lie to you, but I understand what Herb Dean was seeing, which is Moreno literally just holding on.
Fair. I think all that is fair points. Just wanted to raise the question, see how you saw it, talk about it on the pod.
I think Herb Dean was assuming intent though, which I don't necessarily love. I don't know that you can do that as a ref.
Okay.
If we want to have a more broad discussion about it, like he assumed the intent of Moreno in the moment, which I don't know that you're allowed to do that.
Yeah, I think he was assuming a little bit because at any moment Moreno could have sagged or tripped, or tried to jump on the back. I mean,
hell, not everyone's Marab with it. Like, not everyone's just going to try to sling someone to the ground or hoist them on their shoulder immediately every single time, like an animal 50 times in a fight. Like, that's not how everyone does that. A lot of guys lose position trying to do that.
Yeah, bro. I thought it was really quick, just to say the least. But yeah, that was a very good, like, broader point. I'm glad you brought that up. But let's dive into these judges' scorecards, and then we'll keep it pushing.
Yeah, so
I guess we'll talk flyweights, like how we see the division.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear what they painted here for us as far as for what the winner gets. Pantoja in attendance. Pretty much whoever was winning this fight is going to fight Pantoja. Fuck Kai Kara France. I don't give a shit about that guy. Manel Kape. I don't give a shit about that guy. The winner of this probably deserves to fight Pantoja. I really think it's a 3-horse race. Could be biased, could be unfair. I don't know. I've just seen Kara France fall short in the big moments so often. And, like, Kape's a fucking choke artist. Like, that guy's a choke merchant.
I got a take for you, but I'll get to it here in a moment. I'll let you know what I really want to happen in flyweight. It might be a pipe dream, but I got a
This
scenario.
guy's trying to boost Makayev to the top immediately. I already see it.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, brother. Oh my god. So yeah, one judge has a 49-46 Moreno. When Royval hears that, he's literally shocked. Like looks at his corner, like, how did I lose 4 rounds? There's no way.
Yeah, even as a guy who bet Moreno and scored it for Moreno, that's wild.
Yes.
4 rounds for Moreno is wild.
Scoring round 3 to Moreno is pretty fucking tough, I think.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It's that but 2 judges score round 3 to him, so like maybe I'm talking out my ass.
I think to not give him 1 and 2 and to give him 3 is just like a logic train. Like there's gaps in the logic.
Well,
you know
that Chris Lee, yeah. But I was gonna say Junichiro Kamijo gave him 1, 2, and 3, so she kind of followed the same logic.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's like an acceptable scorecard. To give Royval 1 and 2 and to give Moreno 3, it's like, are you flipping a coin here?
Right. It literally felt like that. It literally felt like that, right? But Chris Lee and Mike Bell both have 48-47 Royval, even though they get it different ways. The rounds they differed on were 1 and 3. So Chris Lee gave 3 to Moreno, and Mike Bell gave 1 to Moreno. So they kind of flipped on those, but either way, they each ended up giving 3 rounds to Royval.
I would, and this is going to kind of pain me to say, and maybe I'm sticking my own foot in my mouth, but like, I would rather give Royval 1 than give Moreno 3. Because 1 was such a nothing burger of a round.
No, I 100% agree with you. I think it's harder to give Moreno 3 than Royval 1.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Just like whenever we were scoring Rose Esparzo, we were literally saying like in our notes, like, who fucking cares?
Like, who cares? This is who cares round. Who cares fight. But yeah, man, so Royval wins split decision. Honestly, you could tell at first in the mic he was just kind of shocked and like was like appreciative of the win, and then he got to his raw dog shit talking by the end, was pretty much trying to fight Pantoja. I think it's obviously the fight, and I'm kind of happy to have someone that's not Car France or Moreno or Figueiredo fighting for the fucking flyweight title.
I just don't see Royval beating Pantoja. Mm-mm. I think he is younger than Pantoja, so that might be his only hope. He is taller than him, but we just saw that fight. It's not like we saw it a couple of years ago or something. It's not like Royval's better now. Like, I don't think he's gotten better in 4 months. Like, I just don't – like, why would that fight go any differently? Pantoja's probably going to be, like, minus 300. And you can say, oh, well, Moreno was minus 300. And I guess fair point, but we just saw the fight.
I will say for Pantoja with the whole curse of 35 or whatever.
He just turned 35, huh?
No, he'll be 34 when he next fights. So
that's what I'm saying. He's a little bit older than Royval. So
and honestly, that 35 stat, I'm pretty sure you can reduce it to the age of like 33. And if you put it at, it's like lightweight and under from 33, it's still a really bad record.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. And Albazi, not only is he hurt, but we both thought he lost to Car France, and Car France got robbed in that fight.
That's why I'm not even calling for Albazi. That's why I just left his name off.
I view Albazi as like a pretender. And the same thing with Car France. Even though we thought he got robbed, he is coming off an L, and he has fumbled the big moment before. But Makayev beats Perez, which I don't value Perez at all, but he still has a high ranking. I think that if Makayev, especially if it's something crazy like a first-round sub or something, if Makayev looks impressive against Perez, I think the UFC would rather make that fight on some Cheeto O'Malley shit of like what they think would sell, what they think people want to see. I think the UFC would rather have Makayev Pantoja than have Royval Pantoja. What would that be, 3 or 2? I don't know, but I'm over the flyweight rematches, bro.
I agree with you. Now, here's what I will say too, though, and this could be a hot take. I'm gonna have to clip it. I think Makayev struggles with the top 5 guys, all top 5, and the champion. I think we're gonna see him get exposed. That could be a hot take, but I think that's coming soon.
Well, Perez Perez hasn't, like, I think, fought since 2020 and hasn't won since 2018.
I don't know that Perez is that guy. He's not top 5. He's number 7. But I'm saying if he had to fight Nicolau, KKF, Royval, Albazi, Moreno, or Pantoja, I think all 6 of those guys can expose Makayev because all 6 of those guys are going to wrestle with him. Like, none of those guys are bad at wrestling. And all 6 of those guys can strike, and Makayev cannot strike to save his life. And he really doesn't have good jiu-jitsu, man. He just has wrestling. So, like, I think Royval and Pantoja might get subs off their back against Makayev. Like I said, hot take, but I don't think he's top 5.
But here's where I think our takes can, like, coexist. I think if everything you said can and probably is true, and I still would rather see that than Royval Pantoja.
Well, all right, but what about Manel Kopp? Manel Kopp's, like, super fun to watch. He's like a pullout merchant. That's my only problem is you can't have him in a title fight and this guy like misses weight or pulls out. Like, he does that shit, and that's so risky for a title.
Agreed, and he's not that active. And
but he's fun. He is fun.
Who's his best win?
Let's see.
I know he got pushed by Felipe Dos Santos, which is the reason why we bet him in the first place.
Yeah,
that did not age well.
He KO'd Zumagulov in round 1. He beat David Dvorak.
No longer in the promotion.
KO'd Osborne.
Fight streak.
Lost a split to Nicolau. And lost a decision to Pantoja. Those are all of his fights. His first fight in the UFC was a decision loss.
Yeah, that's pretty gangster. Well,
a split decision loss to Nicolau is pretty, like, he's a solid dude. Like, I actually think Kopp's pretty solid.
I got a dark horse for you. Urseg fights Matt Schnell in, like, I think next week.
Astro Boy.
They're desperate, bro. They're desperate. I think they're desperate. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the UFC wants to give Royval another title shot and put that on a fucking pay-per-view. I don't think that's the case. I think they're desperate, and I think the young Makayevs and Ursegs, and hell, probably 3 wins away, but the Tyras of the world, I think we're just waiting on this passing of the guard for this division to be fun again.
I 100% agree with you, which also I was going to ask you, I mean, I know Perez and Makayev fight next week, but just that card is so bad. Urseg,
it's awful.
Urseg minus 320 against Matt Schnell as a favorite. So seems like Vegas might be looking at Urseg as like you, big-time dark horse, because minus 320 fighting the number 9 guy.
Bro, I think Urseg, there's a world where Urseg's like 2 wins away from a title shot. I think.
Tatsuro Taira's coming as well. 15.
Yeah. I think Urseg's more ready.
Yes. Yeah.
Still in prospect mode.
Here's my thing is, if Taira and Makayev fought, like, I don't know who wins that fight, but neither guy's going to strike.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see that fight personally. I think Tyra's maybe a win away from getting that type of fight. But they are doing a slow build with Taira. They are feeding him cans.
Yeah, super slow. But, I mean, let's keep it pushing because this next fight, man. Well, actually, we do have to talk about what you want to do with Moreno real fast.
Real fast. Him and Cara France, did they ever fight or did that fight get canceled? It got canceled, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's see.
Or no, Moreno Albazi. Albazi pulled out. You rebooked that. You rebooked Moreno Albazi.
100%. Yeah, Moreno does have the KO win over Cara France.
Rebook Albazi. Because that's how this fight got made. Albazi was supposed to be in this for a number 1 contenders match, and he pulled out.
He shot himself in the foot. So, that's why I didn't even consider him. I was like, oh, dude's out. Like,
I think you rebooked that for a lot of reasons, but we can keep it pushing.
Hell yeah, let's keep it pushing. If you want to introduce this next one, I don't know the odds.
Yeah, so up next.
I'm pretty sure of them, but go ahead. This is the one I didn't write the odds on.
No, you're good. We got the number 3 ranked Yair Rodriguez coming in at minus 140. We got him at minus 145, or I guess I did. I don't think you bet that one. So thanks a lot, El Dorado, Caesar Sportsbook. Brian Ortega coming in as a plus 120 dog, ranked 4 in the featherweight division. And, man, I was so confident in this. Like, I actually was like, wow, what a value in Yair. Vegas, bro, nobody on Twitter was picking Ortega. Nobody on Verdict. This is the only people on earth that saw this fight like accurately, which that's why they're Vegas, like they're the pros.
I will say in our text, I did say round 2. I thought Ortega would literally go all in, and that's his only chance was the round 2 sub. He gets it 1 minute in round 3. I didn't feel like I was far away from it, and kind of the way it happens was like the full sin sub. Like he just had to catch it, boom, get it done.
Fair point. Yeah, you were higher on Ortega than me.
In saying that, what I had said was I don't want to like try to like shine my wheels when they shouldn't be, right? I did like Yair to win this fight, but I thought that like if you were gonna do so, like I was explaining to you, if you had the parlay and Yair was your last leg, the Ortega submission would be the easiest hedge on earth.
Fair. That you're right. What Ortega, bro? I mean, the injuries, the inactivity, the L's, like. That's why, like, I don't know, bro. I think very few people are shining their wheels on this post UFC Sunday. Like, I bet very few people cash that ticket. I'll put it that way. I don't know the exact numbers, but I bet very few people cash that ticket. I thought Yair. No, and granted, Yair I thought performed poorly, and I'm not making excuses. Like, Yair got a sub off his back when he fought Josh Emmett. And he didn't do fuck all off his back in this fight. Granted, Ortega, legend at jiu-jitsu.
Legend. But, like, he's been caught in a deep guillotine by Volk and just... Oh, no, other way around. What am I saying?
But what I'm saying is there was no, like, effort. There was no, like, attempts. Yair literally didn't attempt to stand up, didn't throw anything up, didn't try to sweep. He literally just laid there and take it, man. I just feel like you want to call it an off night, you want to call it the pressure, you want to call it wash. I don't know what to call it. But
well, I mean, I scored round 1 10-8 for Yair. I mean, all that being said,
see, I didn't go 10-8. I went 10-9.
I do have that it's cusp. It's like a cusp 10-8. So I gave it just for damage. Like he did a ton of damage.
He did do a ton of damage. I had my Harrison thinking cap on. I was like, well, Ortega did something this round. Like Ortega got his own takedown. He took the back. There's about a minute of control time in there, and like definitely lost the round. But I thought that was enough to kind of edge him from 10-8 to 10-9 personally. But I think a couple of judges gave him 10-8, so I'm probably in the wrong here.
No. It's one judge gave 10-8, two judges 10-9, which I have no problem with. Okay. It's like that's like a pick your poison kind of a 10-8. Like, how much do you value duration, essentially?
Like an 8.9 on verdict type of shit. Like,
yeah, 100%. Now, pushing it to round 2, I thought Ortega, which we should also cover, they're introducing him, and he rolls his ankle, and I was like, holy shit, did he just blow his knee out? Like, what the fuck? I got nervous the fight was about to get called in the octagon.
I know, and I was feeling real good as a Yair better. I was like, yeah, old paper bones Ortega.
Well, and I think if they step in the cage, like, I guess fight has to start, right?
I think that would have been a no contest.
Yeah, that would have been unfortunate. But I guess not really. Would have just gotten rid of the leg.
Yeah, that would have been that would have been crazy because that would have been a 4-legger that turned into a 2-legger.
Right, with like no value really, because like you kind of would lose your value off the Yair. But yeah, so round 2, I'm expecting Ortega to come out like half dead. Like, you know, I mean, he just got his ass whooped. Granted, he recovered well in that last minute, but I still thought like, damn, taking that sort of ass whooping in Mexico City at that elevation, like, I don't know if like that adrenaline dump is going to be there for him.
His nose was broken and he was cut. Like, he was beat the fuck up. Yeah, for sure. What impressed the fuck out of me about Ortega was, man, the wrestling, bro. I mean, you're the wrestler. That double leg was fucking sick.
Oh,
and I was honestly...
He's so good. He's the best jiu-jitsu guy with offensive takedowns. He's simply the best. Like, there's no other jiu-jitsu guy that can get guys to the ground like him.
Wrestler, I'll defer to you. Was that good of a takedown, or was that dog shit takedown defense? It seemed like probably both, but like Yair did not seem to really defend it at all. It was like Ortega was like drilling basically. Like,
I think Ortega's just really fucking strong in those scenarios, and like as a grappler, it's almost like if he locks his hands, much like when like Ben Askren or Khabib were able to, like if those guys lock their hands, you were getting DC. If those guys lock their hands, you're getting picked up. You don't have an option.
I'll say this though, it's almost like Yair didn't see it. Like there was no underhooks,
Yeah,
no
I felt
sprawl,
like that too. Like
no.
because Yair, like I was like, are you just gonna let him lock his hands? Like he didn't even try to like fight the shoulders. That's what I thought was weird about it. I was like,
That's
oh,
what I'm saying.
because I thought Ortega was just getting the legs. I didn't realize he was locking his hands because Yair didn't react to it. So I was like, he must not be trying to lock his hands. Yair's not trying to fight the hands. And then he gets picked up and dumped.
Coach in every sport ever, it's like the only commonality that unites all sports, at least in my opinion, is like every coach will tell you attitude and effort. Like the coach, not like attitude and effort are things that are like completely up to the individual. And I just was not necessarily like satisfied with the Yair's like, you want to call it effort, you want to call it urgency, whatever word you want to use, wasn't there. I don't know. I'm kind of down on Yair more than I'm shining Ortega's wheels, but maybe I'm just salty.
I felt like Yair like gave it away. Now round 2, here's what's crazy. Ortega dominates round 2, right? Gets the brutal elbow, slices Yair's face open, lot of damage, ton of control time. Jesus. I scored at 10-9 for Ortega. 2 judges scored at 10-9 Ortega. The judge that scored the first round 10-8 Yair gave second round 10-8 Ortega. So he has 18-18 going into round 3.
I think that's kind of fair.
That's
though.
fair.
I think that
that's
kind
fair.
Of makes sense.
Like that's calling the game. Like if you're going to let him play, let him play. And if you're going to be ticky-tack, you're going to be ticky-tack, but it's going to be consistent. That's all I ask of a ref is, and same with scoring. Consistency. That's all I want.
No, like that makes sense. It's not like the Royval Pantoja fight. I mean Royval Moreno fight where like the logic was all over the place. Like that's consistent logic. Yeah, I'm fine with that. But yeah, I had it 19-19 going into 3.
I had it 19-18 for Yair. I still had him up by 1. Now that being said, Ortega, I mean, he definitely had to have felt it in round 2. Like I know exactly, I broke this guy. Like I got him because he just literally walked out, feinted a punch, got the takedown, moved to the back, choked him out. I mean, it was like effortless.
It was effortless. It was also not defended. Like I know
okay, this is the one time like round 1 and 2. Like I'm a Yair mark. This round, dude, it looked like a guy that didn't want to be there. Like it looked like a guy that didn't want to be there.
That was just like I don't know. Any Oklahoma football coach would be like, "That's piss poor effort, son."
Well,
like,
and also if you're fighting Cyril Gahn, you can be comfortable in that position. Like it's not a problem. But if you're fighting Brian Ortega and you know you're fighting Brian Ortega, you can't ever be comfortable in a grappling snare. Like he was just so comfortable. It was like, what are you doing? Like defend.
It's like, bro, did you spend 9 weeks hitting mitts? Like what were you doing in camp?
Bingo.
Like, were you not bringing in wrestlers? Like, were you not bringing in grapplers? Like,
and also, like, if you ever feel an arm go around your neck, like, were you not immediately supposed to grab the hand? Like, immediately? Like, anytime Brian Ortega puts any sort of, like, arm, bicep, shoulder on my neck, I'm immediately trying to put space between that.
Yeah, bro. Like, it quite literally wasn't defended. Like, actually, there's a video going around, and they're trying to spin it as this inspirational thing where, like, Ortega and Henner Gracie were in the back drilling that exact sequence,
but it's not the same.
Well, I mean, they were drilling very similar sequences. However, my point is, the video's point is like, oh, practice makes perfect. And my point is, yeah, it wasn't defended, so it worked just like it does when you're drilling. Like,
well, and even more to your point, like in that video where they're drilling, that guy doesn't turn into the choke and get choked harder and faster. Like, Yair literally rolled his shoulder and let Brian Ortega literally become a T. Like, that choke, usually you stay parallel and you want to hop out to a side. You want to get out to a T, but no one will let you because, like, this is your body can't bend that way. Yair, like, rolled into it and, like, opened his neck more. I didn't understand it. I was perplexed.
Gracie was like incapable of being that bad at jiu-jitsu when he's trying to warm up his guy. Like when he's trying to.
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. Like for Yair, like if he goes back down to his right, yes, he's getting caught and his arm is up, but he's still in a position where he can maybe get to a leg and like get his hands around a leg and like pull his head forward. Have you ever seen where like they lock their hands forward around the leg and pull forward, or they can like get to the telephone. You know what I'm saying? Get the elbow, pull on the arm. And that's if you roll to your right shoulder in that case, with the side the guy's on. If you roll to him, because it makes him be in top position full mount, right, to your side. So yeah, you're still giving the choke, but like you still have ways to defend it. When you go the other way and you don't spin your hips over, not only are you not giving your full back, you're choking yourself into the triangle. Like it was not only not defended, it was like given away.
Yeah, man, that's why. Like, all credit. All credit to Ortega. Like, I'm really not trying to hate. I just do not think. Like, I think that was like a 4 out of 10 performance from Yair.
Crazy to say that too, though, because it's an 11-minute fight, and 4 minutes of the fight he's dominant and looks tremendous, and 7 minutes he looks terrible.
But like, in my opinion, and I guess I'm just so dumbed down. Like, bro, like, isn't it kind of worse to like the guy? You're not only so it wasn't a fresh Ortega that did you like that. It was a half beaten to death Ortega that like did you like
Bro,
that.
you know this
like
man,
that almost makes it worse.
You know this man, Brian Ortega, looked up in between rounds 1 and 2, saw Tracy Cortez, and said, "I ain't going out like this."
Like, seriously, like, you're seeing memes like that today, and it's like, I don't really have a better explanation other than, like, Yair was paid off by the cartel to shit the bed. Like, seriously, it was such a bad performance, man, but I'll give Ortega his flowers. Dana White did, he got performance of the night, 50K, cashes as a plus 120. Got the third round arm triangle sub at 58 seconds. I gotta say, this does kind of make, do you think this is good for the division, bad for the division? What's your thoughts? What you want to do next? I'm going to grab a beer real quick.
Oh, man, it's so tough because, like, I'm not trying to see Volk and Yair again. I'm not trying to see Ortega and Volk again. I'm not trying to see Holloway and Volk again.
Volk Ortega was awesome, though. Like, I'm down for that one. I'm down for that one.
I agree, but like I just if Topuria's there, like let's throw the bodies at him. You know what I'm saying? Let's throw the challengers. Like I just don't know if we need to run back the bottom. And here's why I say that. Because you have guys like Arnold Allen and Evloev that are like sitting there that can take these like fights. I think that the Holloway Gaethje thing like fucks everything, honestly.
This division's in a weird spot.
That's what I mean, because like the Volk rematch makes sense, so you could just keep that in play. But then if you do that, if you're Brian Ortega, do you fight Max Holloway again? Or, like,
and what are they fighting for? You know, like, what are they fighting
for? Or if Holloway gets, like, tuned up by Gaethje, does he just have to go sit and wait? And then is Ortega just going to sit and wait?
I think we would want them both. I don't think either of those guys are going to be doing quick turnarounds.
Here's what I honestly think. I think Ortega, Evloev, and Arnold Allen Yair would be awesome.
You said Ortega, Evloev, Allen Yair?
Yeah.
I would be very fine with that. Also, X Factor, wild card. I don't know if you remember Aljamain Sterling.
Oh, yeah.
So
Aljo Ortega would be fun.
That would be awesome. That's what my brain went in the moment.
That's the move.
I was just thinking about how awesome that fight would be and how similar their styles are.
That's the move.
Because you could, I don't know who wins that, bro. Like, I can't even, like, do a little brain simulation of what that even looks like. That's crazy.
And then I guess. I
gotta say, Ortega is more of a dog than Sterling, though. Ortega might, bro, if I get plus money on Ortega in that matchup, I might take it just off schoolyard, like, who's tougher.
Right, like he can eat Ilya's punches and no one else ever could, so Ilya's like, oh, fuck, and it, like, yeah, it's one of those, like, I'm not as bad as I think moments, and then Ortega chokes him to death.
I'm talking about Ortega Sterling. Like, Ortega's more of a dog than Sterling.
Yeah, 100%. And
like
honestly,
way more of a badass.
Probably more technically sound on the mat. And
a striker.
And Aljo's not gonna like weight bully him because Ortega's a big dude too. Like Ortega cuts a shit ton of weight.
That fight sounds awesome. I kind of want to see that. I mean, that's what we're doing here, right? We're being fans. It's fantasy football. It's fantasy matchmaking. If I'm matchmaker for a day, I'm doing Ortega. Cater versus Sterling, more specifically if it's Sterling. And then Yair, what you could do, hear me out, they're doing Noche UFC at the Spear, right?
Yeah.
They're going to want Mexican fighters on it, right? If Diego Lopez gets the win, which I think he's going to, on 300, Yair Diego Lopez and especially how Yair just looked against the grappler. If you want to build Diego,
hear me out. I don't know if Diego Lopez climbs that far that fast. Maybe. I mean, yeah, he'll be 13 with
UFC
the use of
300.
Right, but Yair's not going to fall them further back than 6. So I was wondering, Lopez's resume wouldn't just say that he should get to do that because he has a loss.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kind of a Lopez ball watcher.
I know, but Yair Giga would be so fun.
That would be fun, but you want to talk about not deserving it. Giga, yes.
What's Yair deserve?
Fuck out of here. Yeah, after that deserved performance, he deserves the fucking doghouse. Feed him to
Giga. He's going to fall behind Evloev in the rankings, so it doesn't make sense to fight Evloev.
Right, but Evloev does need to fight somebody, though. That's also the catch-22.
Right. So, okay, but here's my other question for you. This is like not even conspiracy, but like, dude, if they do that rematch with Volk, it has to be like 7 or 8 months. Like, that guy can't be fighting soon. There's no way. He's going to get his lights turned off again if he fights again fast like that. So, if Topuria is trying to be active, because Topuria didn't take that much damage in the fight, if I'm the UFC, I'm not letting Volk do it. Like, I'm not booking the rematch immediately. And if Topuria wants to fight immediately, we're giving him someone else, who the fuck do we give him? Because now Holloway is tied up with Gaethje. Yair just lost. Ortega's there, but I'd rather have the Ortega-Sterling matchup.
Well, and Ortega's probably going to get like a 4-month medical suspension. He took a lot of damage in that fight. Like, He's not fighting in the next 5-6 months. And he's not an active guy to begin with on a good day.
Yeah, the featherweight division's kind of fucked from the BMF fight.
That's why, I don't know. To me, and you could say it's fast forward, skip, whatever. It makes a lot of sense, especially if you want to do the fight in Europe. Topuria Evloev, not that big of a fight, but you almost get it out of the way. And I think Topuria wins that because Evloev's striking is just not.
I agree with you. That was my conspiracy plan, was that you put the Russian and the Georgian in a fight together in Spain. Like, it's already like written in history that they hate each other. Yeah,
bro. The rivalry would be sick. It gets Ilya a win against and like builds the lore. He'd be the undefeated Russian fighter. Wise, Evloev's going to be sitting there. And was he going to fight back in the rankings against like a Yair?
Yeah, that's my point. Is like, who's he going to fight forward against now? Ortega, Holloway, or Volk? Like, 2 of those guys are booked, and Ortega's not fighting for a cool minute.
Yeah, it's in a super interesting spot, but also a fun spot. I think you could say after all the Volk Holloway trilogy and Volk kind of clearing out the division. You got a fresh new champ. You got Sterling coming up. Ortega's kind of back on the horse. I think it's in a less stale spot. It really is just Holloway Gaethje fucking all this up. It's like a blessing and a curse. It's like, be careful what you wish for. All of us fans were on Twitter saying, oh, that would be a cool idea. And then now look at us. They're fucking shambles. But
100%. But let's keep it
pushing. Let's keep it pushing. Yeah.
We got lightweights up next. We got another leg of our parlay. We threw Daniel Zellhuber on here. Minus 300. I think that's what we got him on in our parlay as well, if I'm not mistaken.
This is the only fight all night where we actually got better value. We got minus 280. Yeah. So shout out.
Not terrible.
Out. On every other one.
Not terrible. Now, interesting fight here because Francisco Prado plus 240. 12-1 versus 14-1 in this fight. I mean, both guys only one loss. Very different styles, though. Prado is like Costa in his younger prime, like muscle hamster, just wants to get in and throw bombs. Very durable, but also like fast and dangerous. And then you have Zellhuber, who's super long, super technical, fights behind his jab, but also is dangerous in the more technical, like long frame damage aspect.
For sure, and has a submission win, I do believe. So, like, yeah, just a very technical, very dangerous fighter. I was hammering Zellhuber. It was a 3-star lock of the week. Zellhuber only 24, Prado 21. So it was like a prospect-on-prospect fight. Really, round 1 was close, but 2 and 3 were a masterclass. Like I said, this is a fight. Like I said, I didn't really feel bad for giving out the Moreno by decision pick. I didn't feel bad about giving out the Yair pick. if Zellhuber would have lost, I would have felt like a dipshit. I was so high on him, so bullish.
Oh, dude. Now, in this fight, we were very bullish on a lot of guys this week. That being said, probably only one of them we were very wrong about. I think the rest we were right about. And the reason I say that is the first round I thought was close, but the reason I gave it to Zellhuber was visible damage. I mean, you could argue that Prado was doing more and was maybe landing bigger shots, but Zellhuber was continually active, continually popping him with the jab. And I don't know, like he just didn't show much visible damage.
For sure, I have in my notes like using footwork to avoid nukes from Prado. Like Prado was swinging his wild power punches, how he always does, especially in the first round. And Zellhuber was just out of range, making a miss, being the matador in there. Now round two, I hadn't given out any 10-8s all night. I gave this a 10-8. I don't think many other people did.
I did as well. One judge agreed with this as well. Bruce Buffer fucked up the scorecards in the ring. He said a 30-27. There was actually a 30-26.
Okay, good. That makes way more sense. Because I was just going off what Buffer said.
Bro, Prado, I thought they were going to stop the fight after round two. Like we're talking about fight-ending level of damage in a round. It's clearly a 10-8.
Well, so he cuts him with a jab, right? And cuts him bad.
Blasts his eye open, blasts his eyebrow open.
And then proceeds to land like 4 clean knees to the head in that round?
The knees up the middle, oh my God.
Now, also, we might have to bookmark this clip because Prado Chin of the Year candidate early.
I already have it written in my notes for that reason. You already know.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. Also, it was kind of, you could say this is an unfair way to score a round, and obviously the judges ringside don't have access to this. At least I don't think. But I was kind of teetering. Like, should this be a 10-8? It was kind of like another 8-point not on verdict type of situation, like kind of borderline. But then I saw the doctor really have an internal dialogue about stopping it. I was
he was looking and he turns to Herb and he's like, keep an eye on that. Like, he's good. Yeah, he's good right now. Yeah, I'll be back.
I remember the specific term was monitor it closely.
Yeah.
So like on the verge of being stopped. That's a 10-8 for me all day. Round 3, 10-9 all day. Just kind of fought safe, but
super
smart.
Towards
the end, decided to kind of bang it out, which was kind of gangster. But yeah, the jab damage. He only did 2 head kicks in round 3, so I am saying he's playing it safe. But a head kick kind of is safe when you're a super tall guy.
Yeah. Managing the didnance, keeping Prado on his back foot. Now, did you notice how swollen Zellhuber's shin was? His left shin.
Yeah.
Commentary didn't talk about it, but his leg looked like it was fucked up.
Talked about it with Senko afterwards. It was pretty cool. He was just like, "Oh, these things happen." He seemed like just a super tough, cool Mexican guy. He's just like, "Oh, these kind of things happen. I'll be all right. It's a fight." He was just he was literally not tripping. He was like, "Yeah, some things, it's a fight." It just wasn't tripping at all. Took it the right way. But bro, I'm so high on this kid. 6'1", top of the division, fights tall, uses the jab, the kicks, the knees. I jumped him up pretty fucking high in my power rankings. I jumped him up to 18. I think that's fair.
I think Bobby Green
outside the top 15.
I think Bobby Green gets a win over Jim Miller, and then Bobby Green Zellhuber's pretty fun fight.
Fun fight, also kind of brutal for Bobby Green because it's like a clone of Jalen Turner, and we saw how that went. But Zellhuber doesn't have the power that Jalen Turner has. Not as big of a guy.
Right.
And that was the real problem for Bobby Green. That would be a cool fight. It's funny that you mention it. I have him spots behind Bobby Green in my power rankings, so that would match up. That would kind of make sense. I have him behind. I think you could do a Grant Dawson matchup. I think a Moicano matchup would be fun.
Man, I don't know how the UFC isn't making Patty Moicano.
It does make a lot of sense and would be cool, a main card filler.
Well, if you're the UFC, and I think the reason they're not giving Patty a bunch of these fights that guys are calling for is because they're it's too dangerous. Why are we wouldn't risk that for your worth? Well, Moicano sells all the same, and also Moicano gets beat. He can lose.
Yeah, no, fair. I think that's good matchmaking. Now, the guy who I want Zellhuber to avoid is Mateusz Rumbeski. I'm high on
Yeah.
him. I have Rombesky ranked 15 in my personal power rankings. Like I'm high on him. But there's fun fights. I think a Dan Hooker Zellhuber would be pretty sick. Favola just got booked in against somebody. I forget it. Somebody that seemed kind of pointless. Yeah, he's not going to get. I mean, you could do a Dober. Lightweight's such a story of the haves and have-nots. There's these uber big names, and there's a million prospects, and then there's some old head vets on the way out, and you're trying to match make like to build and kind of usher out the old in with the new. It's kind of hard because there's like if you were doing it based purely off meritocracy, like almost like a playoff bracket, it's different than the matchups you get from like a UFC matchmaking business strategy of like who they can book against who. You know what I mean?
100%. I 100% agree with you. Yeah, Superhound Zellhuber, I think he deserves top 15. We'll see if they give it to him. Like you mentioned, the lightweight division is just a pure conversation of does the UFC want your name to, or do they want to give you the opportunity to have a name or not? Because all the top 15 guys in lightweight, you know them all, so they all have name value. So then the UFC pretty much like uses them for their name value, and then those guys lord the power of knowing they're used for it. So creates a problem.
Yeah. Well, and then I moved Prado. Oh, he's back in the rankings. He's with the Mark Jacases and the Tom Levy's of the world because I love Prado. I love what he's made of. I love his chin and his balls. But at the end of the day, he's 1-2 now. He's 1-2, and he's taken a lot of damage. He's 21. He may be a guy that gets cut and then comes back when he's 26 or something.
He seems really green. Like he has all of the right raw talent, but he just lacks like the technique or the in-fight mindset.
1,000% agree. Don't really got to cover it, but we'll touch on it. Next was supposed to be Rosas Jr. versus Tercios. Like last minute, like right before they walked out, his corner or coaches or whatever canceled the fight, pulled him out. They said he was sick. His coach was saying that he was like lightheaded and dizzy, which that sounds like it could have been nerves. I don't know. I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm no doctor here, but like you're saying lightheaded. His coach said he was like lightheaded. I didn't know that was something guys pulled out of fights for. I mean, obviously if it's blood pressure or something, but like that could have been nerves. Like I don't know, guys were pulling out of main card fights for being lightheaded. Like I don't know.
It's not a great look, I'll be honest. Now they did end up rebooking it for this next fight card this coming week, which thank God because that card is hot dog shit. That card is so fucking bad. Shamil Gaziev and Jairzinho Rozenstruik is the main event. Are you fucking kidding me? That's 5 rounds. Are you guys shitting me? It won't obviously go that long, but like, what are we doing?
Yeah, no, that card needs it. Now, however, Tercio doesn't make sense to me. Tercios was talking shit on social media saying like, oh, I haven't really agreed to the fighting next week. I should maybe punish Rosas for pulling out. But you're also punishing yourself too. Like,
he has a bigger name than you, Tercios.
Strategy. Yeah, I don't. So hopefully for next week's sake, podcast sake, we need something to talk about next week. I hope that fight goes down next week. That Apex card needs it. Let's keep it pushing the straw weights here. Really, the only like non-controversial fight or non-exciting fight on the whole card.
This is one of those fights where like I know we always talk about breaking down every fight every round. There ain't no fucking way we were going to break down every round of this one. I mean, we got Yasmin Jauregui, minus 600 versus Sam Page Hughes. God, it's a terrible nickname. Plus 440 in the women's strawweight division. Sam Hughes, 8-5 coming into this fight. Does not belong in the UFC. I don't even think that's a question anymore.
That's even generous because she's 8-5 overall. I want to say she was 3-5 in the UFC. So she was under 500. Don't even really know how she has a contract still, if I'm being honest.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, no. Howard faster, stronger. You could argue kind of just out-athleted her, just right. I mean, do you have a different takeaway, or just faster, stronger, bigger? Like,
I mean, Sam Hughes 0 for 6 on takedowns. Was less active. Was throwing the shots I thought that were less impactful. I mean. I mean, 0 for 6 on takedowns. Sam Hughes did just nothing good this fight. I hate to be that guy, but like, bro, she's not UFC caliber. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, this girl she's not good enough to be here. It sucks. I hate it.
Well, see, the thing about strawweight is like I think there's like the bottom 20 fighters on the roster are all ass. There's so many cans at strawweight, bro. We think of it as a deep division, but it's really not.
It's deep because there's a lot of bodies. It's not deep because there's a lot of talent.
You got Elise Reed and Poliana Viana and Emily Decode and Diana Belbitsa and Shauna Bannon, the Hannah Goldie. Like the back end is garbage. This was actually an interesting situation with my power rankings where I didn't really have to move either girl. I had Sam Page low to begin with, and I have Howard Gui at like 15, right behind Denise Gomes because Denise Gomes knocked her out. I don't think she's better than Tabitha Ricci. I don't think she's quite at like the Luana Pineda level or the Amanda Higabos level. I actually did skip her and Denise Gomes over Angela Hill and Carolina just because of age. Angela Hill, 39. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, 38. Tisha Torres just had a baby. Then you get to the Jillian Robertsons of the world. So, like, I think Yasmin is, like, right where she needs to be. I think she's about the 15th best girl, but not 15 with, like, a super high ceiling. I think she's about the 15th best girl, like, just straight up, not projected.
Maybe, hopefully, kind of adding some actual depth to the division. Like, I don't know that she's a title challenger, but she's a girl that probably right now sits 15-10, which we need those girls.
We need, yes. Like it's kind of a backhanded compliment, but I think it's like an accurate description. Yeah, for sure. And then as far as Sam Hughes, cut her, match her up against the Contender Series girl. I don't know. Who fucking cares? Let's keep it pushing. We got one more fight on this on this main card. And I got to be real, man. This is a guy I wasn't super on my radar. You got to start kind of shoveling some coal in the Manuel Torres train.
Bro.
It's a performance of the night.
Bunch of
and you start digging into his tapology. And it's just nothing but finishes.
Yeah, not to mention, I mean, how old is he? He's 28, so kind of right in that perfect prime, I'd say.
Yep.
In the UFC, he has, his Contender Series fight, KO. First fight, Frank Camacho, KO. These are all first round, by the way. Nicholas Mota, first round, KO. This fight, Chris Duncan, submission after he rocked him. I mean, the dude's a weapon.
And I got to say, I think Chris Duncan was like a pretty legit test. Like, I wasn't as down on Chris Duncan. I mean, Chris Duncan was like 11-1 coming into this, not a can. And I just, I thought it was a pretty nice jumping competition, and I thought it was a good test for Torres that he passed with flying colors. Like I said, he's on my radar. We got to take him seriously. Like,
I thought he was great on the mic too. Like, I thought he was really good on the mic. I also thought that, like, as far as like he looks the part, like physically, it looks very imposing. Maybe the best wrestling I saw all night. Like when he got the 2-on-1 on the plum on the neck and then hit the foot sweep trip. I was like, that's actually really nice.
Yeah, and you couple that with like knockout power, and I mean,
good defense too. Like he was able to essentially control the distance. I thought the whole time. It was a short fight, but
I'd say like a B+ athlete. Like I don't think he's like a freak show Jalen Turner, but I think he's like a B+ athlete. I think he's made of the right stuff. Like he's a dog. He's mean. He's vicious. I'm high on him. Like, doesn't show the, like, technical savvy of, like, a Zellhuber, but you might not need it if you can starch every fucking body.
And he seems like he kind of has that dog in him, too.
Yeah, like a Michael Chandler almost, like a kind of...
Like, super game. Like, the more the fight gets, like, the more it demands, the more game he is for it.
Yeah, he got 2 takedowns, and all in 1 minute and 46 seconds, so super active. He got 2 takedowns. He won, like, 2 scrambles. He got a rear naked choke sub. He landed some big damage with the hands. I mean, literally. I mean, and Vegas had this as a super close money line. Granted, a lot of late money came in on Torres. Early in the week, this was literally a coin flip. Finishes at -165 Torres. So some big bets had to come in on Torres to move that line. I actually picked Duncan. Didn't bet this fight, but when I picked it, it was Duncan +102. I thought it was like a coin flip, but I was very wrong.
I think this is one for me where I said it was a no bet just because I thought it was going to be a close fight. clearly I was wrong, and it was not close, and it was very one-sided. But yeah, this is one for me where I had set a no bet. So.
Well, and then as far as what's next, I thought it was kind of interesting. Saudi Cobb on X called out, kind of was talking
essentially
some
was
shit
like,
on
I'll
Torres.
see this guy down the line, or like, I know this guy is going to be my future, essentially type shit, right?
I think that's good matchmaking. You do Saudi Khan Torres. I mean, I probably take Torres in that if I'm being honest.
I mean, if you're an
But
asshole, you can do Torres and Zellhuber.
you could. I don't think they will.
Mexican
I don't
Independence
think they
Day?
will. Ooh, at the Sphere?
Kind of nice.
Maybe. I'll say as far as my power rankings go, I moved Manuel Torres up behind Guram Kutaladze. I think that
Ooh,
could be a
yeah.
fun fight. Like kind of up there with the Trey Ogdens of the world. I think I know I need to adjust these because I think Torres probably beats Ogden and Joe
Starches
Selecki
Ogden. Yeah, oh yeah.
and Jakar Close. Hell, and Tony. I'm literally adjusting my rankings on the fly right now. Because Torres, man, I'm telling you, I'm taking him seriously. I think he can beat a lot of guys in the division.
To me,
Like,
he
you
feels.
mean to tell me he's not beating Tony Ferguson if they match that up right now?
To me, he feels top 22, 21.
You like him more than Bahamondes?
I do actually, yeah. Especially after the last time we saw Bahamondes out there, that guy was laying a fucking egg.
Exactly, bro. Yeah, I just had to adjust my rankings on the fly. I don't like doing this, but yeah, But lightweight's so deep. There's a million guys for him to fight. And then as far as Chris Duncan, man, like I said, it's only his second loss in his career. I'm pretty sure it's only his first loss in the UFC. I did have to move him back with like the Trevor Peaks and Jordan Levitts of the world. You could argue he may beat those guys, but when you perform like that, I don't know what I'm supposed to think.
I think.
I mean that wraps up the main card. I mean Torres gets the performance of the night bonus, so I'm sure for a young fighter, especially one that lives in Mexico, that goes a long way. So good on you. Cheers, thanks for the entertainment. That was fucking awesome performance, brother.
Yeah, no doubt. I just to wrap up your last point too. Chris Duncan could see him against like a Jai Herbert, like very bottom end lightweight fight. You know what I mean? Also,
yeah, no, I mean that makes sense.
Wouldn't hate to see. I don't know if this guy's even still in the UFC necessarily, but Manuel Torres and Marco Madsen wouldn't be terrible. Oh, Madsen's 45, or isn't he?
No. He's a 55er, and I'm pretty sure he's still signed. That'd be a pretty tough test. I mean, that makes sense.
It's a good test too, because it's like here's a pure wrestler grappler.
Yeah, like if you can't solve this puzzle, maybe we need to pump the brakes. Yeah, no, I kind of like both of those better than any of my suggestions. So yeah, man, I mean, Chris Duncan, it's not like door slammed shut, but it is like to get beat like that by a prospect bode well typically. And then Torres, like I said, I'm taking him seriously, bro. I got Torres with some pretty lofty names up here, like edging on some, getting pretty close to the rankings. So lightweight's so fucking deep though, so fucking deep.
Super
like
deep.
That's actual depth, not like Fugay's strawweight depth. Like I said, I mean, let's see here. Like, yeah, bro, you got like Elvis Brenner at like 30 right now. Like, dude, bro, the lightweight is Shark Tank season. There's so many dogs.
It's insane.
But
it's absolutely
insane. But yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. Like and subscribe. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter Beefy Breakdown, Instagram Beefy Boys Breakdown. Leave some comments. If you want any money on any of these bets. If you picked Ortega by sub, I would love to see that. Like, tweet us that screenshot. That'd be fucking sick. But yeah, man, any parting comments?
No, just like, comment, subscribe. If you do have that Ortega ticket, you can suck me in the back. That I hate that. I wish I had that ticket. And yeah, we'll keep pushing. We'll hit it. We'll hit the prelims and maybe a little small look ahead for the next week if there's any value anywhere to be found.